Hey, Music Posse, what the hell happened to you? You played hooky with me today? You're not showing up? You're giving me the excuse. It's bad weather. You couldn't get yourself into the studio. Okay, I gotta wing it. Audience members, welcome to today's live stream episode of Selling That House. And as you heard from me, my Music Posse didn't show up for me today. It happens. We've got a little bit of bad weather here in the upper Midwest. And as I am talking to you, starting this live stream, a little bit of audience participation from all of you. Can you drop into social media? As simple as dropping in your post, your comment. Where are you coming from? Where are you watching this live stream from? Is it here in the Midwest, East Coast, West Coast? Or if you want to be more specific, certainly drop in your comment as to what metropolitan area you're dialing from. And if you're watching this live stream, yes, we all know this. It's Monday. You're playing a little bit of hooky from work. And if you're watching this as an on-demand video, well, we don't know when you're watching it. So here we go. So audience members, today's live stream, I have the pleasure of bringing together two contacts, two connections to guest hosts with me in today's live stream. And by the way, in case you're wondering, this is the first of 3 episodes of what we call Selling That House. Again, first of 3 episodes. So for those of you who are tuning in to my live stream, Selling That House today, and you're wondering like, oh, what did I just kind of tripped up on? You got 2 more episodes to join us and have fun with us. So with all of that said, let me welcome my first guest host into the studio. I'm going to ask his fan base to give him a nice round of applause. You're going to see it. By the way, my Music Posse didn't show up today, so we can't give him the audio rip-roaring round of applause. But here we go, his fan base. Here we go. Yes, Mark Placek, your fan base. Some of these people I'm sure you know because you've helped them. They are showing up for you, trying to get you riled up. Here we go. What do you think about those fans of yours?
They're great. They're fantastic people. I know every single one of them personally.
Well, hey, you are in a business where you help your clients from a wide range of demographics. So that's probably a little snippet of who they are.
That's right.
Yeah. So Mark, let's lean into today's live stream, this episode of Selling That House. You and I both know on paper, our business is such that on paper, most might initially look at it as it's a transaction. Agree?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. However, you and I both know our business, to be quite honest, is not just a transaction. It is a relationship that we add value to their next chapter. And it is a relationship where it's kind of like the buffet of emotions. Do you agree?
Yes. I mean, I would say it's almost all emotions, right? I mean, and there's a ton of them, especially in this market here and now today. There's a lot of anxiety. There's a lot of stress. There's a lot of surprises. So yeah, it's definitely an emotional experience.
Yeah. So having said that, let's talk about the 5 Ds of life events. Let me help you with the first 2, because I think you're going to follow my lead and you say, oh, Bill, I know the remaining ones. The first 2, first life event, right? We probably have all gone through it. I know our next guest hosts have absolutely completed that life event, and that is earning that degree, the advanced degree, right?
Sure. Yeah.
All right. The next one after that, maybe in this order, is diamonds. No surprise. Popping the ring on the beautiful girl, popping the ring on the handsome guy, right?
Right.
All right. What do you think is the next two?
In relation to what we're talking about here, I would say down payment might be one of them, if that's
true.
That's what you're leading into. Debt, that could be another one. As people get together, you know, they're going into good debt to purchase homes. I know of another D that this is going to lead into, but I don't think you're quite there yet. So I'm going to have to give up. I don't know.
You're on the right track. The one D that's very obvious is diapers.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
My wife and I don't have children, so we have little dogs. So yeah, that one went on the other side.
Hey, we have, just like you, brother, we have little dogs as well. And while we may not have to go into debt buying diapers, well, guess what? We go into debt buying other stuff for them, right?
Yes.
Okay. So now that we're on this track, talking about the 5 Ds of life events, let me drop in the next one. This next one, Mark, you and I both know it is the one that is absolute, the buffet of emotions. Unfortunately, it happens. Households breaking up and sometimes reforming, right? So in that spirit, when you have an opportunity to lean in, to have the opportunity to help a household sell that home because of a divorce, what are some questions that you typically are hearing from those clients? You know, typically they're going to be your sellers engaging you, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's important. I've handled multiple transactions that way on both sides of the fence, by the way, buy and sell. But let's talk about the sell side. One of the most important things is confidentiality, right?
Yeah.
Getting both sides on the same page, because sometimes some of the big Ds could be more amicable than others, right?
True.
Remaining neutral. Like, I have to be a neutral party when something like this happens. One of the things everybody's going to ask about is they want to know timeline. They want to know if they're going separate ways. They're going to want to know how to properly time things, especially if there are the diapers involved. So if there are children involved, we have to we have to work around school boundaries, stuff like that. And then we have to work upon each other's potential boundaries of where they may both be going, especially if there are children involved.
Right. What do you ever get this question? I'm going to put myself in the shoe of that seller, hypothetically, not realistically. And that is, it's the curveball question, kind of in your face. And that is, Mark, how many open houses do I have to endure making my bed, keeping the home nice, keeping what you guys call showroom condition before you can guarantee that we're going to get a good offer? You ever get that question?
Sure. Yeah. In particular, not specific to open houses, but just showings in general, because people don't always love strangers coming through.
True.
I can't give a specific answer on that. And I like to say making sure everybody's on the same page, because what happens if he wants an exorbitantly high amount for the home that's unrealistic and the home's not going to sell at that price? And what if she very aggressively wants to price it and get it done and over with, right? So assuming everybody's on the same page and that they do listen to their broker and they do take the advice, I like to tell people, and depending on the market and where they're at, typically in today's day and age, you can account for about 30 days. If you're priced right, if the home is marketed well and it's well positioned to go, account for 30 days. It could happen over one weekend, which we're seeing a lot of, especially here in the city of Chicago. Right. But it could sometimes it could take a little bit longer. So I like to properly manage everybody's expectations. But I think if you're properly positioned and properly priced, you should expect about 30 days.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. And I think in our business, even though with this life event, that one important word, trust, is blown up, right? The two parties, for whatever the reason, love is lost, trust is broken. You and I both know this. The very fact that that emotion is happening, they must trust us so much to engage us, to help us, to rely on us to deliver the outcome that they need and that they want, right?
Correct. Yes.
Yeah. So let me put a pause on you here, and let's now do this. Audience members, let me introduce my next guest. My next guest is probably, Mark, I think you agree too, is probably the advisor who gets the whisper first about, unfortunately, this life event where love is lost, trust is blown up. So let's ask her fan base to give her a nice warm welcome. And again, social friends, because my music posse skipped out on me today, you're not going to hear the nice drum beat of applause, maybe some rock music, because, our next guest, she does have a walk-on tune, but can't play it today. So here we go. Nice round of applause visually from her fan base. There you go, Colleen. Your fans are calling you out. So let's make sure you're ready to join us in the room. All right. Colleen, how are you?
Doing well. How are you?
Yeah. So I know as we had a quick huddle before we started this live stream, I know you benefit from being flexible, and thank you for sharing your time with us, by the way, today. Okay. And also, you have to be flexible because given what you do, you have to show up in different, what I call court systems, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. And I think you're correct. Lots of times when people are about to go through a divorce process, an attorney is often the first one they call. And so it's left to the attorney to not only be the first to help manage those emotions and help them assemble a support team that can properly help them manage things, but also help them to begin to brainstorm about what it is they want this next chapter to look like. And that includes what to do with their real estate.
Yeah. So as I mentioned, as you heard Mark and I share in our first half of our live stream banter, when love is lost, most of the time, when trust unfortunately might be blown up, you are the first to kind of hear the whisper of one of those parties, right, leaning on you and saying, this is happening. I need your help to get to that next chapter. Correct?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Usually I'm the first person they might tell ever, and I think that's because of that attorney-client confidentiality. Where I hear it, I'm obviously not going to share it with anyone. And I think sometimes people need to feel that safe space while they get their arms around this new emotional reality.
What are some questions, maybe the top 3 questions that you, from your experience, from all of the years of your experience as a partner in your law firm, what are some of the top 3 questions that you get from the parties involved in this, breakup of the household? Care to share that with us?
Yeah, I would say the first question, and I think the most common question I get, is how long will this take? Yes. Everyone wants to know how long their divorce is going to take. And that's because they want it done yesterday. And who can blame them? No one wants to go through this excruciating process any longer than they need to. Yeah. And I have a really frustratingly lawyerly answer to that, which is it depends. Every case is different. And so we need to talk through the specifics and what your goals are to get a good assessment there. No 2 assessments are the same. Next one is, how expensive can this be? And same answer, it depends, because most lawyers charge by the hour. So if your case goes longer or there's more work that needs to be done or a higher rate of communication or hand-holding that's needed, the more expensive the case can be. And then I'd say the most common next question is, what happens next?
Yeah.
And that also depends, because it really depends on what we were talking about in the consult and what the primary concerns are. What I tend to recommend to all of my clients, however, is to start building a team. Start building a team of trusted professionals who can help them through this, because I'm just one piece of it.
Gotcha.
I always think it's a great idea for my clients to work with divorce coaches, therapists, financial advisors, and of course, people in the real estate space when there's a marital residence or even several pieces of property to consider how to divide in the divorce.
Yeah, yeah. So Mark, do you agree? You probably get that same question as well. How long will this take? How fast can we get this done? Am I right?
Yeah, 100%, and absolutely. And so when we do this, like especially on a listing consultation, and we're talking on the sell side, is we'll want a goal, and then we want to work backwards from that goal. So, hey, I just met with people, not divorcing, but met with people on Friday, and their goal was they want to be out by September 1st. So I was able to lay a timeline of, okay, what that would look like and how we could and how we should get there.
Yeah.
On the buy side, it's a whole different thing. Like, let's pretend that, they're decoupling and they're each heading in different directions, and we want to help them purchase real estate on the way out. That can be very challenging depending on where they're going and in which market they're going into, because it's challenging out there right now for buyers.
Yeah. So I know, because partly I'm in the business, but also because I've been a client potentially of your peers in the past before, right? So there's this thing called, is it a seller's market or a buyer's market? So the very fact, Mark, that you touched on that, it's so true, correct?
Yes, 100%. It is a very strong seller's market right now here in Chicagoland.
Yeah.
Very strong. Yeah.
So it can be tough as part of that unconscious or conscious coupling with their purchase as opposed to the sale.
Correct.
Yeah. Yeah. Colleen, here's the dumb question. Now I'm going to ask you, are there any instances in your many years as a family law advisor, as a partner in your law firm, where maybe the person who reached out to you confidentially shared with you the situation and of course touched on what their next chapter must be? You respond, you take them through your discovery, I think that's the right word.
Yeah.
And then you take them through your maybe first phase of that process. And this party then says, maybe to you, Colleen, what if I change my mind?
Yeah.
Does that ever happen to you?
Oh, it does. And I mean, I think it's a good thing when it does. I think
Does
if
it?
there's ever a marriage that can be saved, that's a
Okay.
great thing. And maybe that's less business for me, but that's better for humanity at large. So you have to have some perspective here. And I have plenty of clients where
wow.
they actually go on something special we have in Cook County called the reconciliation calendar, where during the process, they want to see if they can make things work. And I think it's a good effort. It's a worthwhile effort, because if it works, amazing. You don't need a divorce attorney.
Wow.
But if it doesn't, then you know that you did everything you possibly could, and you can move forward more confidently in your decision. And that reconciliation calendar essentially puts your litigation on pause, so to speak, for up to 6 months, just giving you some time to work it out.
Oh, wow. I've never heard of that. Mark, have you heard of that before?
No, I've never heard of that either. I learned something.
It's not the most common thing in the world, but it happens.
Okay.
Yeah, I think, Colleen, when people get to calling to you, they're pretty far into it, right? Where
Most
the
of the
decision's
time.
pretty
Are they?
but it's good to know there's a fallback for people.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Just because you file doesn't mean you have to finish.
That's right.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. So, social friends, audience members, if some of you may remember that somewhat famous TV series, LA Law, Colleen, as you heard it, is not your Arnie Becker, right? She's all about, hey, if you can work it out, I'm here to coach and moderate and navigate you through that part as well. So, hey, I just learned something new. Reconciliation period.
Colleen, are you too young for that reference?
I'm afraid I might be. Sorry.
I understood it. I remember.
You understood it?
Yeah.
All right.
Someone tells me I think Colleen may not catch it, but I got it.
Okay. Well, hey, Colleen, it gives you reason to Google search that on YouTube. How's that?
I'll be sure to do that.
All right. And social friends, audience members, if you're also too young to pick up that reference, same tip for you. Google search, go to YouTube. You might see a few clips and be like, oh, that's that famous Arnie Becker. All right, all right. So, Mark, I want to ask you, right, when it comes to your contribution in this life event of conscious or unconscious coupling, I like that, right? As well as opposed to the obvious, which is divorce, separation, and divorce. Trust, I think, is so important in your business. It's the fact of trusting in the fact that you're going to get them to that other side, correct?
Correct.
Do you find it hard because of this uncoupling, because trust is kind of shattered, blown up? Do you find it hard initially for them to, quote unquote, trust you until you wield your trust sword and say, hey, I'm your guy, follow my lead? Talk to us about that.
Yeah, that's a great question. I'll give you a vague answer of not necessarily. It depends how they came to me. If I was brought in as a neutral party in between and I don't know either of them, and the first time we meet at the listing consultation is the first time we meet, that trust is quickly and easier to establish versus if he might be one of my old college friends or something, or there may be some type of personal connection that I have to either party, then it's a little different because then I think they become a little bit concerned of, hey, is the realtor on my side? Is the realtor on the other person's side? So we're conscious of that. And so what we do is we want to lay it out on the table that I work for both of you. And my job is to be fair and impartial and get you both to that collective goal.
Yeah, very true. So, Colleen, I know because of what I just said, I think the same for you as well, right? The trust is so important because immediately when they engage you, they're looking for that feeling of, Colleen, you've been referred to me or I found you. And they're assessing quickly, can I trust you to be open, vulnerable, and then tell you up front, I want to get to that other side in less than 6 months.
Yeah, I would say trust is the most important piece of the equation when you're working with an attorney. There's so many attorneys out there. I encourage people who are thinking of going through a divorce process to meet with a few attorneys, not just one. See which one is a good fit for you. See which one you feel the most comfortable with. See which one you feel okay confiding in, because this is someone who's going to be walking along every step of the way with you during one of the toughest seasons of your life. That's right. And this is someone you need to trust also to keep that attorney-client confidentiality, as well as to give you sound advice that you want to listen to and follow. So I would say that's the biggest thing overall. Yeah,
I'm right there with you. So audience members, in the spirit of the first episode, this episode of our short run series with my guest host, Mark Placek today, and also Colleen Breems that you see here as we wrap up without my music posse today. Music posse, come on, you got to show up the next time, regardless of the weather. So audience members, what can you expect? If you've enjoyed today's very real, very direct, and hopefully for you, a fun banter, fun conversation, what can you expect? Remember, this is episode 1 of a short run 3 episode series. You can expect our second and third final episode to drop 2 weeks out, 4 weeks out. Now, you're going to ask me because you want to, what date, what time? Here's how I respond, because we all have a pretty dynamic schedule. Here's my request and call out to you. Follow us, follow Mark, follow Colleen, follow myself on social media. Whoever you follow, you'll see our social feed, and you will get notice as to when our second and third final episode will drop. So without my music posse, my guest host today, thank you for sharing your time. Social friends, audience members, as we wrap up this live stream, all that I can do is give you a nice visual of the lovely city of Chicago. Here we go.